Bruising Banner Podcast. Bruising Banner Podcast. What up? Welcome to Bruising Banner Podcast. I'm your host, Rob G. And with me, as always, is the Legendary Brew Crew. What up, fellas?
I got water, I got, juice or whatever. He's like, y'all need twin legs? Matter of fact, I do.
To everybody is,
Does Delaware have an actual culture?
this is the podcast that we talk about beer, but we also talk about a lot of things that's happening in the world, politics, movies, anything really that comes to our mind while we're here sampling these brews. Grab a drink and pull up a chair.
Calling all the steppers to the front. You ready for the show? Hey, it's on. We always number one when she get up. They ain't think Rick was coming home. Calling all the steppers to the front. You ready for the show? Let's go. Always number one, I'm like a bitch. No one has to know.
Step how you want me to step.
I don't know what it is, but Yo Gotti and I can't think of his name. Oh, Moneybagg Yo. Always. As always.
Banging track.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Hey,
It's
just that vibe. You feel like you was in the booth with him. Feel like he was in the studio when you hear him.
I just appreciate Moneybagg Yo. I'm not sure why.
What's up?
What up? Welcome to Bruising Banter Podcast, where the topic is the rockin' and the brew. Well, happy to you. And I'm your host, Rob G. And with me, as always, the Legendary Brew Crew. What's going on, Dev?
What's going on? We gonna hold it down for him this Sunday evening.
Absolutely. Shout out to Lou and Yo on those vacation adventures.
Exactly.
Out
the
in
country and over in the West.
Yeah.
That's what's up, though.
For me.
Right. Watch this. Word.
This is episode 171 of Bruising Banter Podcast for the first time listeners. Hey, how you doing? Where you
What's
been?
up?
For the folks who are long time listeners, glad that you made it back with us.
Right.
We have a great show today. So we're going to jump right into it. I thought I had a comment for a second there. But like I said, we do have a great show for us today. So I want to bring into our podcast. We have from South Carolina, James Beard Finalist Award finalist. I guess that's the best way to say it. As well as the creator of Black Food Friday. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring to the podcast KJ Kearney to the podcast.
Here it is. Welcome, sir.
I like the sound effects.
Yeah.
Good to be here.
It's good to be here. That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Glad you can join us. We are excited to have you here and learn more about what Black Food Fridays is, why it got started, and even some of the black facts, how much work are you doing to get in all the good stuff. And so we'll get into that. But before we do, we always like to know what everybody is drinking on it. So what are we drinking today? And we always start with a guest. So KJ, what are you drinking today?
So to stay in line with the theme, I'm drinking 2 black beverages in one. So this is the pineapple sweet tea from a soul food restaurant here in North Charleston called Nana's. There was a point where I was buying this by the gallon. Like it's that good. And I've decided to mix it with, it's not beer, but it is a black-owned tequila. Shout out to Sean Combs, Sean Puffy, Diddy, whatever he's going, Brother Love, whatever he's going by right now.
Right.
But DeLeon is a good. I like tequila. I'm more of a mezcal guy, but I do like this tequila. So I'm mixing the two so we can, enjoy ourselves this afternoon.
Okay.
I don't know if I ever had deli. I don't know.
I haven't either. I've seen the commercial for it. I think now they're like infusing it with like citrus, and they're getting, I guess,
they're getting jazzy with it.
They're getting jazzy with it.
Yeah. That would make sense. It's the same thing you did with Ciroc with all the flavor.
Yeah. That's what's up.
All right, Dev, what you drinking on?
Well, similar to what KJ said with as far as falling in line, I decided to go with a pastry stout beer, just in theme with, Black Food Friday. But anyway, this is a s'mores imperial pastry stout brewed with graham crackers, marshmallows, cocoa nibs, vanilla beans, and lactose. This is from Conshohocken Brewing Company. And I'm going to need some black food after this because the ABV on this joint is 11%. Yeah, I'm gonna be while we're sitting here taping. I'm gonna be ordering like some Chipotle or something to drop off at the door. So if I segue over, it's because I had a little bit too much. But anyway, again, this is Conshohocken Brewing, and they are actually in King of Prussia, even though it's Conshohocken Brewing Company, very close to that same area. This is one of my first from them, I believe. But here's a little flavor of the color. I'm drinking it in my barrels and leaves cup. But anyway, shout out to Leo and fam. But this color, very, very dark. You can taste the lactose in it. You can taste the graham crackers. You can taste pretty much all the flavors that they're describing on a can. So for me, Conshohocken Brew Company, you got it right. Pass me another.
All right, sounds good.
Rob.
Yes, sir.
What style did you decide to go with tonight?
I'm actually drinking from First State Brewing. It's a Synthetic Echoes Double IPA.
Oh,
8% IPA. There you go, First State Brewing, which has Mackenzie, Centennial, and Simcoe hops. There's notes of grapefruit, pine, and nectarine.
They did
in there. Yes, like I said, it's 8%. It's a nice golden color right there. That's in my Barrel and Flow Fest
glassware. We got that
black beer fest. Beer fest. There it is. Trying to go with that. But also I got two beers because I was trying to keep to the theme as well. So shout out to the homie Mac Brewing Company. Mac. I also had his
Philly's own.
Yeah, there we go. So I wanted to make sure I represent. I'm gonna try to drink this. I know it's 10%. So I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know if I have.
Yeah, you averaging high.
Go. Both of them. We'll see if I make it. If I start slurring, then you already know what it is. All right. So everybody has some good beverages. I think tequila actually might do it. He might start slurring before we do.
Hey, let's see how he can hold his liquor. Let's see what KJ what you about. We'll see in a minute.
I'm excited to prove my worth. You know what I mean? Let's do it.
All right. Well, without further ado, like we always say, we always like to know who you are, where you come from. So the floor is yours. Once again, I want to welcome you, KJ, to the podcast. So there you go. So you can tell us all about Black Food Fridays and tell us all about who you are.
We'll start with who I am, and then we can get into Black Food Fridays later. Long story short, my name is KJ Kearney. I'm a native of North Charleston, which is in the state of South Carolina. I'm what we call a binya. So in the Gullah Geechee community, we have kumyas and binyas. A kumya is someone who came here, and a binya is someone who's been here. And so because Charleston is rapidly gentrifying, 33 people a day move to the area. It's rare to see a whole lot of binyas. So I'm proud to be from here. And I wanted to, start off the conversation with that. But I went to all public schools, mostly Black, and then I went to a HBCU, the illustrious South Carolina State University, home of the Mighty Bulldogs and the Marching 101. You got to say the whole thing.
Yes,
got to say the whole thing.
Yes, got to say the whole thing.
And I've done a whole lot of things, man. I've ran for political office. I've worked in politics. I've worked in public education. And now I work as a community organizer for a nonprofit organization called Charleston Promise Neighborhood. And I work with Black Neighborhood Association leaders to help them craft strategy and plan and, execute those plans for their community, which ties in, very well to what I do online with Black Food Friday. So I build community in real life with Black people, and then I build community on the internet with Black people. So it encompasses everything I do. And so, I'm always excited to have the opportunity to talk about either one of those, those paths, because they really converge into one purpose. And my purpose is to elevate Black people and work towards the liberation of Black people, and do it in a way that is fun. You know what I mean? You get more flies with honey. And so, there are times where you got to punch a racist in the face, but I'd much rather bring them along slowly and, feed them and make them feel good. And by the time they realize they've been politically radicalized to supporting Black people every week, it's too late. You're down now.
Right.
If that makes sense. So, yeah, man. Yeah. So I started Black Food Fridays in April 2020.
Okay.
Right before right as the world was shutting down. And it was, I attended it for it to be like, I'll post once or twice a week. Like it's going to be a little side hobby for me. I'll post once or twice a week about what Black owned restaurants are open during COVID. Cause when America catches a cold, Black people seem to get pneumonia.
Right.
We always get the worst end of the stick. So I was like, well, what can I do in my little way to help Black people? And that's what I decided to do. And what I found out is that there was a lot of people who wanted that information. And then after the murder of George Floyd, it kind of took off from there.
Right.
But I'm blessed that my path hasn't been slowed down because, a lot of creators had a boost after that because America gave a shit about Black people for like a strong 6 months.
Right.
It was like, we really love Black people. And a lot of Black people came up. A lot of Black people came up, but then they went right back down to reality. But my platform has continued to grow and expand and, different opportunities, like you said, James Beard and all that. So, yeah, I'm excited to, answer your questions about what we're trying to do and what we hope to accomplish and everything in between.
Well, one question I had just right off the bat was like you said, because you started happening in April. So were you already planning to do Black Food Fridays or just something that spurred from shutdown of because of COVID?
No, that's a great question. So I was interested in doing something food related. I just didn't know what I wanted to do. So in 2018, I wrote the proclamation for the city of Charleston for Red Rice Day.
Okay.
And so we, for those of you listening, I can get into a long convo, but basically think of red rice as the American cousin of jollof, West African jollof.
Oh yeah.
And so because of the, the ancestral ties, we'll talk about it another day.
Yeah,
but
my neighbor is from that part of Africa. They make jollof all the time.
Oh, word, yeah. So I wrote the proclamation for the city of Charleston in 2018. It got adopted. So I have my own day in the city of Charleston. And so from that point, I was like, yo, like food might be the wave, especially living in Charleston. Charleston is a food mecca in the world, not just for, South Carolina, but in the world, people come here to eat. So I figured like, okay, food might be something. And I had the opportunity to do some work with Charleston Wine and Food Festival 2019 and 20. I hosted an event called Soul Stroll where we did a tour of Black owned restaurants for the festival. And I was like, yo, this is dope. I think I might want to, go in this lane, but I didn't know exactly what that would look like. And then the world shut down. And at the time, y'all, I was writing a book. I was writing a book about Beyonce being one of the world's greatest community organizers. I was going to explain the parallels because, again, that's my work.
Right.
And, I was about 3 or 4 chapters in, and I'm a nerd. So, I said I needed to take a break, but it's always going to be different mental work. Right. And so one day I was talking to my homeboy and like in 15 minutes, I came up with the name, logo, domain. I bought the domain, like all that. I did it in like 15 minutes. It was because I thought it was going to be like a little hobby, a little post once or twice a week thing. But yeah, I've been posting every single day since April 20. I may have taken one day off, maybe one day off, but there's just so much information in terms of Black owned restaurants, Black chefs, Black baristas, brewers, Black beer culture, the whole nine. So it's been a labor of love, and it's tedious. It's not hard. It's tedious, but as the good news is as my platform grows, people send me shit.
Right.
So I don't have to do as much research on my own. Now people are just like, oh, what about this restaurant? What about this seasoning? What about this sauce?
Right.
So, it's a blessing though that people have been sticking around for the last two years and some change.
That's awesome. So I needless to say, I guess that Beyonce book has taken a back seat, or have you?
It is. I mean, it's taking a back seat. I would like to get back to it, but yo, this thing is not stopping.
All right.
You know, I'm about to sign with a literary agent to write a book, a food book, or
Nice.
write a book where I'm writing the book proposal now, so we can pitch some publishers. But yeah, man, Black Food Fridays is doing things, and I want to see where this takes me. You know?
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, do you are you a chef or cook or in the culinary space? Do you really get down in the kitchen?
Oh yeah, I mean, if by get down in the kitchen you mean eat other people's food, yeah, I do that.
Right,
send
me a platter. Who having that Friday platter special, or who coming through the job or whatever, right?
Whatever, right? Yeah, I'm really
fried
good
fish,
at that.
hoagies.
I'm not too much of a cook, but with my upbringing, I have a younger brother who loves to cook. I have my dad. My dad is the cook in the house, really. I've been blessed that like every girlfriend I've ever had has been an outstanding cook. So it's just like, I just been my family, I got aunts that manage restaurants and kitchens. I just have a family full of people who know how to get busy.
Yeah.
So I've never really taken the time to learn. I won't say I can't cook. I'll say I haven't taken the time to learn. And then with Black Food Fridays, people aren't interested in my cooking. They want to know, they come here to find out who else cooking.
Who else, right?
Right.
Where can I get that soul food? Where can I
Exactly.
get that cuisine?
I didn't know if you threw in a recipe here and there. Well, this is my favorite recipe, or
not one bit.
That.
Nope. Nah.
So when you first started Black Food Fridays, was it specifically for Charleston, or were you already having the thought process of going outside of Charleston, like I don't know, for North Carolina or Georgia or Delaware for that matter, in terms of soul food or Black food restaurant?
Yeah. No, good. Another good question. It was never focused on just Charleston.
Okay.
Because there are Black people outside of Charleston.
Uh-huh.
And the whole goal was to uplift Black people wherever they may be, or those businesses in specific, wherever they may be. And so it's grown organically. That's something else I want to make sure people understand. I didn't come out the gate doing everything I'm doing now. I had one focus: find Black restaurants, let people know they're open. I mean, I would be even so specific as being like, yo, this restaurant is open between the hours of this time and this time. And right now they're only taking Venmo, right? Or right now they're only taking like, I was very granular with the information just because I wanted people to be able to help. I wanted to remove those barriers. You know what I mean? And give, and then but it was the people who were like, okay, well, what about a sauce? Can you recommend a sauce or something? Can you recommend some? So then I started putting, Black-owned consumer packaged goods. And then people wanted to know about chefs. I'm like, okay, well, I start talking about Black chefs, and right. And so, it's just been a natural progression. I'm sure, like with y'all podcast, right? Like you started off the podcast thinking we're gonna do this, and then you get feedback, and some of the feedback is good, some of it is dumb, obviously.
Right.
I'm not
tweak some things.
Yeah, you tweak some things, but I'm not one of those people to be like, there's no such thing as a dumb question. There are dumb questions. There are dumb questions. Yes. And so so you just take that feedback and you continue to maneuver until you find your lane. And that's I feel like we found our lane.
Right. All right. So from that, I guess in terms of the feedback or the questions and stuff like that, and the questions you were getting in terms of sauces and that, and I think you said you was a nerd earlier. Is that where Black food facts came from, or you said, you know what, let me also add some facts in this?
Man, so no, let me tell you where it came from. So I have a homegirl who was also a food blogger, or she's kind of pivoted into something different now, but whatever. So she was like, this was like I want to say this is 20. Yeah, this is like in the middle of 2021. She was like, yo, you need to get on TikTok. And I was like, absolutely not. Like, I don't want another platform, right? Like, I don't want to deal with another platform. And, pardon my ignorance, but at the time I thought TikTok was just dancing. Right. I got like 12-year-old nieces. Like, I'm not trying to be on the internet dancing with them. No disrespect, but that's just not what I'm trying to do.
Right. Let them have that.
Let them have that. Let the kids have their thing. But my friend was like, nah, man, the growth potential on TikTok is crazy. Like, your opportunity to go viral, your opportunity to build a fan base, like it's It's insane. So I tried it like at the end of maybe 2021, maybe. Tried a couple videos. They wasn't really hitting on nothing. I ain't getting no views, you know. So I was like, man, fuck it. I'm not doing this. I didn't want to do it in the first place. And she was like, nah, man, like try it one more time. Like give it one more shot. And I was like, all right, well, if I'm gonna be on this platform, I'm gonna just do what I want. And what I wanted to see was history, you know, like I wanted to learn something in 60 seconds. So I was like, well, I'll just do that with food. So that's where Black Food Facts came from. Is like, well, what is the content that KJ would want to see if he was scrolling TikTok? And so that's what I did. And my first video was about, I believe my first video, was about Hennessy. Black people and black people in our
lineage. The lineage.
On the podcast.
Yeah. So we that was my first video, and that shit took off.
Give me some facts. Give me some facts. Black people in Hennessy.
Somebody we asked this question on the podcast, and somebody actually forwarded us your Black Food Facts and tell us about
okay. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everybody, you know, who's listening or watching, they may not know. So, you know, one of the things about the Black American love for Hennessy that people don't know is that it stemmed from war. You know, so when Black GIs were in France, you know, trying to help liberate French people, the French people were like, thank you for saving our lives. Here's this thing we drink called cognac. And them Black GIs was like, nigga, this is lit. Can we get more of this? and they brought that love for cognac back to America. And fortunately, whoever was running Hennessy at the time saw that. And they were the first people to first major spirits brand to advertise in magazines like Jet, you know, like they saw that Black people in America were really rocking with the brand. And so I think it was Jet and maybe Ebony as well, but one of the two. So they were like putting money up, like, yeah, Black people drink this. And so, you know, you got to think, we talking about like 1960s or 70s. There wasn't a whole lot of major corporations outside of like, you know, food and cars advertising to Black people. And so that love, you know, from it's almost like a trauma bond. I would imagine that if you're going through a war, you know, if you find anything positive from a war, you're going to be like attached to it. So it's a little bit of a trauma bond, but then it's also smart business moves from whoever was running Hennessy at the time to see like, oh, there's a whole bunch of, you know, people in this other country that really like this. We're gonna support them.
Like that. They were in the war with drinking the brown. It was like, oh, we in a war.
So something else that just popped in my head as you were telling the story about war, and I saw something on might have been Instagram or might have been Facebook, can't remember which one, but the idea of what's now called Korean chicken, right? Korean fried chicken. And one of the food hosts, like they were cooking, this Korean was cooking fried chicken, and they were like, "Oh, you know, it's so good, it's one of the best." And the judge was like, "It's because during the war, the Blacks showed y'all how to cook chicken, and that's where it came from. Don't make it seem like that, you know, you guys invented this or made this. The linkage is from the Blacks showing you how to make this Korean chicken."
Yeah, I mean, I did. I made a post about that. And Dev, you know what's so interesting? So first of all, a shout out to Alton Brown. Alton Brown is like one of the OG food nerd men on television, you know. And yeah, he's the one that, you know, rightfully so, gave credit to Black GIs, right. Black GIs in Korea teaching people how to fry chicken. You know, the post I made was less trying to debunk Alton, because he was right, so there's nothing to debunk, but more so to bring context, right. And what I mean by that is, you know, James Naismith invented basketball. A white man invented basketball. He made it a hotline. Right, we made it a hot song in the words of Jay-Z, right? So like we took his sport and we took it to the next level. And my whole thing was like, you know, let's not discredit Koreans. We can give credit to our Black brothers and sisters who taught them the way, but like let's not take away from what the Koreans have done with fried chicken. Because again, we made it a hot line, they made it a hot song. What Koreans are doing with fried chicken is outstanding, and we can't take credit for what they've done with it. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
We did introduce now, and to be fair, we didn't introduce the frying of chicken. They've been frying chicken since like the 1500s. But they was just dumping all, whole chickens in, hot
like
grease,
peanut grease or whatever.
Yeah. Like that's how they was getting down. And so when they realized, like, oh snap, you can bread individual pieces of chicken and sell that, right? Like they took that concept and started doing some futuristic things with it. So
I want some wings right now, though.
Right? Or order that for the high gravity.
I know, right?
Settle yourself,
but
yeah. So that's it.
I used to think I was a foodie, but I don't know if I missed this whole Korean chicken wave. Like maybe I
have had it. I've had it at least once a month when I go into the office. The Korean chicken, it's really good.
That Korean chicken called, it's like a B. It's a franchise too, right? Don't they have a Korean chicken franchise place?
No, there's a place called Jollibee's.
Okay,
I think I'm pronouncing it right. I think they're Thai or Filipino. I think it's a Filipino franchise, but apparently their fried chicken, I've never had it, but apparently their fried chicken is outstanding too. But yeah. So I mean, listen, I get that. And I don't even blame Black people for wanting to fight for credit, because throughout our history we don't get credit for things. So I get that, but my post was just like, my brothers and sisters, like, we don't have to disparage Korean people because they are making some of the best fried chicken in the world right now. We don't have to disparage them just to lift up our brothers and sisters and and make sure that they get the credit that they deserve. If that makes sense.
Absolutely, because we have been written off a lot in terms of we had you had no, like, people act like we had no contribution to society. Oh, we made this up, but you was also still in rock and roll and stuff. So I mean, music, Black music was all. Every music is Black music at one point.
Listen, and can we say real quick? This is an aside. When you said music and Black people and stealing, and I just want to, for the record, Black people really gotta like. And I'm not telling you gotta like Drake's new album. Okay, let me just say this up front. I'm not telling you gotta like the album. But what I am telling you is stop saying that he's making white people music, because house music is Black. Black people, Black gay men in Chicago invented house music. So like, if you don't like the album, fine. Just say you don't like the album. But see, like, and that's a place where we should be giving credit, and we're giving that credit away to somebody else, right? Like, we made house music. So if anybody should be profiting off of that, it should be us. That's it. I just want to get off that little music.
Yeah, and I went for a little bit. And I went to school in Jersey, which is big club house music.
Yeah.
Place. So I was like, oh, this is hype. This is dope to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Going back to my college days. I was like,
time for the percolator.
Right, exactly.
Right. That made it the Newark and the UD campus quick.
Right.
There you go.
That Korean spot. So the Korean chicken place that I'm talking about is a franchise that originated in Chicago. It's CM Chicken. They've made it to Philadelphia now on University City campus. I work right up near UPenn, and some good chicken, man.
Okay, word. Yeah,
really good chicken.
CM.
Yeah, CM chicken. Yeah. So
going back to the Black facts, like, so people who don't follow the page, and like, is there one Black fact, like, doing your research and stuff, that you like, oh my goodness, I think everybody should know this? Oh, I mean, I know you want everybody to know all the facts, but is there one that just really stood out, like, oh snap, I didn't even know this when I was even going and looking for it?
Yeah, I think one of the most eye-opening Black food facts was the fact that the one Black Disney princess that we have, Princess Tiana, is actually modeled after a real Black woman who was a chef in New Orleans.
Yes.
So there's a restaurant, Dookie Chase, that's in New Orleans, and they literally patterned that woman, the character, after Leah Chase.
Wow.
And so that blew my mind, right? Like, not only do we have a black princess, but this black princess was a real woman. Like, they really modeled it after her. So that was one of the most eye-opening facts for me, man.
Oh,
That's
nice.
awesome.
I don't think I want to say I think I went to her restaurant when we were down in New Orleans.
We were down there for your birthday. You went, right? For that year you went for your birthday?
Yeah, probably because I think it was already a significant spot anyway before the Disney movie, but I think after the fact it became even more of a destination for people to go and check it out. Because I think she passed away maybe a year after I went down there.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. So I have a question just in terms of like you seeking out facts of black food or food in general. Like, where has this journey taken you, you know, outside of your state, out of the country, like, or where do you want it to take you?
Oh, man. First of all, let me just say, y'all are asking some really good questions here. Where do I want to take it? Let me be very specific though, because there are many things that I want to do, right? Like people laugh at me, but I'm dead ass. Like, I have a 100-year plan.
Okay.
All right. Like I
are you planning to be here?
Nah, no, like I don't even want to be here. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
You know what I mean? Sort of like, I don't know if y'all watch Hamilton.
Yeah.
But you know, one of the amazing parts of Hamilton is when George Washington was like, "Yep, I don't want to be president anymore." Right? And like and Alexander Hamilton was like, "What? What do you mean you don't want to be president?" Like, no, like I don't want to be in charge forever. Like, I don't want to be making posts forever. I don't want to be, you know what I mean? Like, I want to create something that lives on, whether you know who KJ is or you don't know who KJ is. And so, you know, what that looks like is, you know, retail. You know, I want to get into, when I say retail, I want to get into the food space. So, you know, me and my brother are trying to open up a concept next year that there isn't, you know, where it's something that is very popular in the African diaspora, but not necessarily in the Black American diaspora.
Okay.
You know, I don't want to let the cat out the bag yet, but like, I'll tell y'all, you know, afterwards. Yeah, I'll tell y'all afterwards. So, you know, I want to make some spots like that again, you know, not only providing opportunity for revenue, but providing opportunity for ownership, because we don't have a lot of opportunities for Black people who don't already have a lot of money to become business owners. And the model that me and my brother are setting up, if we do it right, will involve skin in the game, right? Like, you're going to have to put some bread up, but it's not like trying to buy a Chick-fil-A.
Right.
You don't got $1 million.
You need 50 grand or,
bro, for Chick-fil-A, if you don't have $1 million, you can go ahead and cancel that.
Right.
Like, you know, I mean, when you add up all the
costs
and, you know, all the costs and startup.
Right, because you had to be having something like liquidity is a crazy, just to begin with, you had to have a lot of liquid assets.
Absolutely, right. And, you know, and there was a time where you can open a Church's Chicken restaurant for like $40,000.
Yeah.
You know, if I remember correctly. So, you know, that's part of the reason why you see them in the hood, is because it don't really cost that much to start it. So we kind of want to copy that model to create a business model that other Black people, even if they're not millionaires, if you got enough homeboys with some drive and a little 401k money, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all can put in together and do this thing. So that's one thing. The second thing that we'd like to do is create a Black food academic conference. Because there's no place right now for Black people who write about food or study food to go and share their work.
Okay.
And one of the ways that you make something worth academic study is to have a place to show your shit, right? Talk your shit and showcase your work. And right now there isn't that in the food space, not specifically for Black food. You know what I mean? So that's something that we want to do. And of course, I want that conference to go on for 100, 200 years. Like, you know, I want them to be like in memory of KJ Kearney, you know, welcome to the 21-22nd, you know, year 21-22 conference, right? Like, I want to live on forever. And then last but not least is media. You know, I want to, and I have some strong partnerships that are helping me navigate this space. You know, shout out to my entertainment lawyer, Cliff. Shout out to Cliff.
Okay.
Shout out to W. Kamau Bell, the Emmy Award-winning host of United Shades of America. Yeah, he's helping me out.
Nice.
And so, yeah, like I want a TV show. Like TV. People think that TV is the end goal, but really, TV is like the halfway mark of this 100-year plan. And not even. It's like the first 10 steps
like
of this
100-year plan.
It's like
yeah. Like Jay-Z's was the rap albums, but then he became everything after the fact.
Right. I want to be that guy. It's one thing to have all these great ideas, but it's another thing to be, oh, you're that guy from that thing. And TV is still powerful enough, even with all the streaming and all that, that certain shows are able to break through the noise and you can be known as that guy from that thing. And that leads you to get funding, and it leads you into rooms you didn't know exist to create more opportunities and, you know, things of that nature. So, I mean, and that's just like the first 3 ideas, bro. I have so many ideas and things that I want to do that if we do half of them before I die, like I'll be a happy man.
That was funny because one of the questions I was thinking when you were speaking earlier, I was like, now that the world's opening back up, are you going to do like a Guy Fieri type Black Food Fridays type of thing where you like, I'm here at the spot,
right?
You know what I mean, that's because I saw that when you were talking earlier. I was like, well, this definitely can pivot now to something different. And it's funny that media is part of the thing, kind of like a take on Guy Fieri and Anthony Bourdain type of thing, where you actually are in the Black spaces and trying the foods, maybe helping out doing a recipe.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what you have in mind, but I definitely could see that being part of the recipe. So that's what's up. I'm looking forward to that. That's shout out to W. Kamau Bell for helping, because his show is actually pretty good.
It is.
Good show. He be actually crazy stuff. Well, not he don't be asking crazy questions. The responses to his questions sometimes be like, "What
there
the
we
fuck
go."
Yeah.
Absolutely.
KJ, I got another one for you. So speaking of Black foods and in some restaurants, so what are some staple Black restaurants or Black food restaurants in staples in the community, even whether right in where you're from or just that places that you like kind of put a pin in and said, I got to get there, or I've been there, and what was the experience like?
I mean, man, so there's so many. I'm privileged, I think of running Black Food Fridays less of a job and more of a privilege, because I get to see the expansiveness of Black creativity in the culinary scene that people don't get to see because, they live in their lives. As it relates to Black food that I think everybody should try. I mean, I'm super biased. I really think that every Black person in America should take a trip to Charleston, South Carolina, at least once in their life.
Okay.
I mean, Charleston is the epicenter of American chattel slavery. Gaston's Wharf is where they're building the new International African American Museum. Is the place where it's estimated anywhere between 30 and 40% of every enslaved African took their first steps in Charleston. And 80% of Black people in this country can trace their lineage back to the Charleston metro area. Gaston's Wharf was the Amazon of chattel slavery at one time. You know what I mean? So I feel like if for no other reason, every Black person should take a trip just to learn a little bit about the history. You think of Blackness in America, the foundation of that is Charleston, is the enslaved men and women, the Gullah Geechee men and women here that are based the federal government calls it the Gullah Geechee Heritage Corridor, but essentially Charleston is the epicenter of that corridor. So but in Charleston, there are a couple restaurants that I think are definitely worth. I did a food tour for a friend yesterday, and we went to this place in James Island called Gillies. Gillies or apostrophe S, Gillies. We had 2 Black-owned restaurants in Charleston that were James Beard Award winning restaurants. Like when I say that Charleston is an embarrassment of riches and food, and the only reason the one doesn't exist is because the woman retired. You know, like that's it. So the other one is called Bertha's Kitchen. It's in North Charleston, specifically where I live at in the city of North Charleston. And Eater just said they just listed them as one of the best fried chicken restaurants in the world, in the nation. Excuse me. In fact, you know, shameless plug, I just did a video about that list. Eater, just for National Fried Chicken Day, had a list of like the best fried chicken in America, and like 9 of the restaurants were Black owned. And so whether you go to eater.com or you go to the Black Food Fridays Instagram account, take a look at those 9 restaurants, man. They're all over the nation. There's one in Phoenix, there's one in Alabama, there's one in Tennessee, South Carolina, you know. So depending on where you are, you might be, you know, hopefully within driving or a short flight distance. But I would start with that list, man. Start with those 9 Black-owned restaurants that are out here killing it on the fried chicken.
As you're saying that, I'm texting my wife, but I'm putting it in a thread for a reason. I'm like earmarking. We're driving to Atlanta in August for a family wedding, and we have family in South Carolina area. And we're talking about like splitting or like kind of breaking the trip up. That 10-hour drive is doable straight, but maybe we should, you know, make a stop. So Charleston could be it, man. So as you're naming these restaurants, I'm jotting it down.
To be clear, Atlanta is like 4.5-5 hours from Charleston, so it ain't
not really on the way.
Yeah, it's not on the way, bro. Like if you come to Charleston, you meant to come here. Like that wasn't
okay.
In Atlanta, I mean, listen, I would try Pascal's.
Okay.
They have a long history. Well, first of all, it's been around forever. I mean, Martin Luther King used to go eat at Pascal's.
Oh, nice.
So, you know, check them out. One of my favorite restaurants of all time is actually in College Park, which is right outside of Atlanta.
Okay.
It's called Virgil's Gullah Kitchen.
Okay.
G Smalls. He's from Charleston, but he, you know, now lives in Atlanta. Him and his husband, they
get down,
bro. Like it's just, it not only is the food great, the vibe is great, right? Like the decor is great. And that's something that, you know, people ask me why I don't review a lot of Black-owned restaurants. Number one, I'm not really interested on shitting on Black people. So I don't want to do a review because as my profile grows, my word means more. And I want to put positivity as it relates to Black people out in the air. I don't want to say something negative about a restaurant and then nobody goes there anymore. That person loses their livelihood, you know?
Yeah,
like, I don't want to be that guy.
Don't be that type of influencer.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But when a Black-owned restaurant has the resources to really invest in their space, we shine. You know, I think Pascal's is a good example of that. But Virgil's Gullah Kitchen is a great example of when you have the resources, you can put out banging, you know, menu. The menu looks like the menu itself looks good. You know what I mean? Like the inside of the restaurant looks good. They got murals on, you know, dope art on the wall. They be having DJs every Sunday. You know what I mean? Like,
what?
Yeah, like they have DJs for brunch, bro. Like brunch be turned up at Virgil's. And like I said, the social media is on point. Their photos are on point. Like there's not a lot of Black-owned. And again, I want to be clear. It's not that Black people don't have the ability, but that shit costs money. Right. It costs money to gut a restaurant, you know, a space and make it look exactly the way you want. It costs money to get somebody to design a nice menu and a nice website. It costs money to hire this DJ every Saturday or Sunday, right? It costs money to take good photography for Instagram. Or now, you know, you got to do reels. Reels is what the algorithm wants. But that stuff costs money. So another reason why I don't fault a lot of, you know, I don't review restaurants is because, you know, a lot of our Black-owned restaurants, they're using money that they have earned from their real jobs or their previous jobs. To open.
To get it
so
off,
like
off the ground.
I'm not about to talk trash about them people.
Not to cut you off, but what in speaking just in light of reviews that you know you say you don't do, but what is the one like review that most Black-owned restaurants or just in general, what restaurants are shooting for. It's like, isn't it like some type of like, I want to call it like it's like some type of medallion or some type of
Michelin
rating.
star you talking about? Michelin star?
What's it called?
Star.
Michelin Star. The Michelin Star. Have you done any research to that, or do you know any like? Really,
I mean,
kind of like the criteria behind it.
Let me say this. So Michelin stars are ratings given out by the same people who make tires for some reason. Like
what?
Right?
It's the same Michelin. The same Michelin.
Same people.
Same people.
What?
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same people.
What is wrong with these people?
I mean, to be frank, it's genius. I don't know how they were able to parlay. I don't know how they were able to do that, but the fact that they matter in both the rubber industry and restaurant reviews, right? Like that's pretty interesting. But yeah, so
diversification.
right. They really did diversify their portfolio. I think a better thing to talk about is like why these things exist.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And the games that have to be played in order to be on the radar, right?
Yeah.
If you're celebrating fine cuisine, right? That is a loaded statement, because who's to say what is or is not fine dining, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? Who is to say what cuisine deserves to be elevated and what cuisine should be relegated to street food or cheap food status?
Right.
And so, I'm nominated. I got nominated for this James Beard Award, and I'm thankful for it, for the doors that it's open, and I understand the prestige, but also at the same time, that doesn't mean that there are other Black people who aren't doing dope shit, right? Like they might not even know James Beard is a thing.
Right.
Should we spend our time trying to get them to bow down to this award that they don't even know exists? Same thing about a Michelin. There's some Black-owned restaurants like Chicken Hut in Durham, North Carolina. The Chicken Hut's been cranking out fried chicken for 60 years. Do you want to have a restaurant that's been around for 60 years, or do you want a Michelin star? Right? Like, like those are questions that you got to answer. Right. So a lot of times, in order to get on the radar of a James Beard or Michelin star rating, like you got to have, again, those resources. You got to have PR. Right. You got to have marketing money, right? Like you got to get in the magazines. You got to get interviewed on dope podcasts like this, right? And you gotta have somebody whose full-time job is getting your name out there.
Yes, sir.
If you don't got enough money to paint the walls inside your restaurant, you sure as shit don't have enough money to hire a PR person to get you on Good Morning America. So, again, would it be nice to see more Black people winning these awards? Yes. But knowing what it takes to get these things accomplished, is it worth the money? I don't know, right? Like how many more, for instance, I've gone to Bertha's Kitchen, and that's the restaurant in Charleston, in North Charleston, with the James Beard Award, right? They have that thing right in front of, because it's like a, meet and three type place, right? Right in, before you pick your meal, they have that award sitting right there.
Right there.
I've never, ever been in that restaurant and saw somebody, a Black person, look up and be like, oh, these niggas got a James Beard Award, right? Like, I've never seen anybody, right? And in fact, I was there filming a show for Food Network with Miss Cartier Brown. She has a show on Food Network called Delicious Miss Brown. And we were in there, and me and her were talking about it, and people next to us was like, what's that? Oh, that thing right there, that's a big deal. We're like, yes, this is a huge deal. They're like, oh, word, that's what's up. Hey, can I get that fried flounder? Right? Like,
right.
You know what I mean?
I want this platter though.
Well, there we go.
Not to make anything funny about it, maybe it should be, maybe Oprah or Tyler Perry should start something too as well. So they'd be like, yeah, that's the Oprah Award or Tyler Perry, something that is more identifiable to Black
representation.
And maybe that's how Michelin saw it, right? It was like, yo, we got a lot of credibility in this tire game. Maybe we should.
People will ride behind us. They will fall in line.
Hey, I like what you did there. Ride behind us. Good one. Yeah, but but similar, right? Like maybe Oprah has Oprah's favorite things, right? Right, and people care about that. And so if Oprah decided, hey, I'm gonna start recognizing excellence in Black cuisine, I guarantee you.
She did it with books and Oprah's favorite things, everything else, right?
I
Oprah, if you
guarantee
do it,
you
you
that
owe me
people
some
care.
money.
Absolutely. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So like, I think I know you joking, Rob, but there's
Mhm.
I think there's a lot of validity in that statement of our notable Black celebrities. And when I say celebrities, I don't just mean, I mean like people we give a shit about, like Oprah.
Right.
We care about what Oprah thinks.
Oh yeah.
And people like an Oprah. Imagine if Denzel Washington decided, I'm gonna start recognizing Black-owned restaurants.
Right.
Everybody would want that award, bro. Like,
Mhm. Exactly.
Right.
so there's some truth. I like that. I like that idea. I'm gonna keep that in the back of my head. So when I finally meet Oprah,
Exactly.
I'm gonna be like, "Hey, you ever thought about?"
Yeah. Yeah.
She probably like,
Exactly.
she probably like
When,
my
not if, but when.
Right. When
Right?
I meet Oprah.
When I meet
I'm
Oprah.
saying,
Oh yeah, because it's coming. I mean,
It's coming.
you got W. Kamau Bell. Oprah is not too far behind.
Let me tell you something, dog. We were hanging out. Me and him were hanging out this week.
Mhm.
And we were having a great conversation about his level of fame.
Mhm.
And right, like he's like, I'm famous enough to go in a room and nobody know who I am. Right? Like like he's at a level of fame where either people absolutely love him or they have no clue who he is. And there are more people who don't know who he is than do. And he's like, I also live in Oakland. I don't live in LA. So I don't hobnob, right? So
Right.
even other famous people are like, oh, it's that guy from that thing, but they don't know me because I don't hang out with them. I live in Oakland.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, yeah, he's probably, listen, we are all probably as close to Oprah as he is. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like, he might be a little bit closer, but not much.
Right.
Got you. Got you. All right, so I'm gonna throw out some like random like Black foods, and you tell me if you have had it and enjoy it or not enjoy it, right?
Fair, let's go. I'm with it. Hot takes.
Fried okra
is undefeated.
Undefeated. Love it when I go to Virginia and I get that fried okra. Okay.
Fried okra is the greatest, bro.
Greatest.
I like okra regardless.
Bro, I eat it slimy. I'll eat it.
Yes.
I'll eat it
in a
fried,
stew
baked,
or what?
stewed. I don't care, bro. Okra is amazing.
Right.
Love it. Favorite style fried fish, whether it be cod, catfish.
Listen, another easy question. Flounder.
Yes,
I'm blessed to live in Charleston where, we're surrounded by 2 rivers and an ocean. We got creeks, we got marshes, we got swamps, we got all that. So our seafood game is pretty on point. And there's nothing better, in my opinion, than whole fried flounder, bro. Like the whole, and if it's not flounder, I like red snapper. Whole fried red snapper, and I like the head on. I don't want you to take my head off. I want the eyeballs and everything. I want it all.
Short story. Our first time to West Palm Beach family reunion. That Rob and I are interrelated. We married 2 sisters, so we travel and do a lot together. And remember the West Palm Beach family reunion, and whole fish went in the fryer.
Whole fish
came out on the plate. I'm like, okay, this is different. It's my first experience.
I was no head. I don't want no head. No.
My first experience. I'm like, oh,
nah, bro.
They just got gutted it and said bones and all. Let's do it.
Right.
Bones
Not just
and
the
all.
head.
Give it to
bones
me.
and all. Oh no.
Bones and all.
So
I ate it.
So Rob says no. Dev, where do you stand on head off?
I was okay with it. I had the bread. I had the bread there because that's how they. I grew up learning that about fish with bones and how to eat it. So I fell in line. Fell in line. I'm like, okay, go back to the olden days or the 70s and 80s when my parents was teaching me how to eat fish. If you got a bone in something, you eat it with the bread.
Eat the bread,
let it pass on through.
I get it because my grandparents are from North Carolina and New Orleans. I mean, outside of New Orleans, so I understood. But I'm just like, that's not how I like my fish.
That's not your ministry.
Yeah,
I've been in North too long to say that's how I like my fish.
I get it.
All right. So I would say I've graduated or I've I've steered away from chitlins and pig feet from years ago when my grandparents and my great aunts and uncles ate it. But are there any places that you've experienced that know how to clean and cook them that you have had from Black food cuisine recently?
Yeah, listen, let me be honest with you. I've had pig feet twice in my entire life.
Okay.
And I've never had chitlins. I'm not against it.
Okay.
I just never had it because where I'm from, we're more seafood based than we are, hog.
More hog.
So like in the country, there's a lot more hog, right? But where I live at, we're so close to the water, it's mostly seafood. So I would love to eat chitlins to know whether some chitlins are good or not good. I
better than
know.
the other. Yeah,
I wouldn't have any clue.
So even just off the strength of seafood, what are some traditional dishes that you grew up on that maybe we may not know about? Like, I mean, we do the shrimp and grits, right? We do we do the big prawns, we do the crab cakes and things like that. But what are some cuisines that make you feel like that are maybe familiar or local to your area?
I would say one thing that I'm fairly confident not a lot of places eat that is seafood related is we have a dish here called she crab soup. It is outstanding.
Is it like a gumbo?
Nah, it's like a cream. Think of like a lobster bisque, right? But with freshly picked blue crab meat.
Like female crabs.
Yeah, and then you use the female crab, the roe, and all that to make it a little sherry. Some people like it super creamy, some people like it a little more thin. But like I'm fairly confident that Charleston is one of the few places that you can get she crab soup.
Okay.
And just a side note, I did some very basic research, and it seems that a great uncle of mine is credited with creating the dish. So maybe if that's true, and it was always in my blood to be in this food game. You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh, right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
One other darn, it's going to come back to me. One other food. Oh, I know what it is. So something that I recently started doing for a holiday tradition. I am the mac and cheese cornbread stuffing maker for Thanksgiving every year. I make it for my house and I make it for my in-laws' house, and I take it. I also make two versions of my mac and cheese. Okay. I make a traditional mac and cheese that has got about 4 or 5 cheeses in it. Egg, I'm going all in. It's layered. It's block, right?
Yeah. You bake that one.
Yeah, I bake that one. Now I also do a seafood mac and cheese where I do just because it's a little bit less expensive to do it, but I usually do the claw crab meat in the cheese sauce and then put it in the oven and bake it. And I'm wondering, have you had seafood mac and cheese?
Absolutely. So there is a restaurant here in Charleston that is not Black owned, but they make an outstanding lobster mac and cheese, boy.
And that's what I had. I had it at a restaurant, and then I decided I was going to try to make it. So continue.
No. I mean, it's really good, and there are places in Charleston that does the same thing. I'm sure there are other restaurants that do it too, but I am very familiar with seafood mac and cheese, bro. When it's done right,
it's fantastic.
Yeah, man.
Welcome, Yoda. How was your flight?
I heard y'all talk about some mac and cheese, boy.
Hey. Right. You make that mac and cheese for your family on Thanksgiving too.
Yes, impeccable, Rob.
Yay.
So going back to the James Beard, like finalists and awards stuff like that. So how did that even come about? Like, how do you find out? Like, how do you like how's that whole experience in terms of, like, I think you had to go to Chicago as well. There's a whole like a thing like, so how did that all play out?
Yeah, so the same woman who told me to start that TikTok account was like, hey, you should nominate yourself for a James Beard Award. And I was like, nigga, if you don't stop playing with me, bro, like, if I nominate myself, that's lame. Like, ain't nobody gonna vote for me that way. Like, that's not how these. She's like, yeah, that's exactly how these things work. How do you think people get nominated? Like, they put their name in the hat. And so I was like, all right, cool. So I did it. I put my name in the hat. And then I really did not think anything of it after that. I was just like, whatever. And then they announced, I was in DC when they announced the chefs, like the semifinalists for the chefs. And in fact, I was in DC at a restaurant where one of the chefs who had just been nominated for a James Beard Award was cooking that night. And so a black dude named Angel, he cooks at this restaurant in DC called Anju. And it's like a Korean restaurant. Shout out to Danny Lee. And so Anju is a dope spot, and he was cooking, and so I got to meet him, and that was cool. So when they named the chefs, in my mind, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I didn't hear my name be called, so I didn't, and I was fine with that, right? Because I didn't like, this is stupid anyway. No one's gonna. I'm it's like super black on my account. Like, they're not gonna call my name. And then like about a month or maybe 2 months later, I don't know how long ago. Let's just say a month for argument's sake. I'm getting ready for a staff meeting. I told y'all I'm a community organizer. It's Wednesday morning. Our staff meetings are like at 11 o'clock. And so I'm getting ready, like I'm sitting at my laptop, getting ready to log in and all this stuff. And my phone starts going off. And, which is not uncommon, but I'm looking at the names and I'm like,
I don't know these people.
Well, I know them, but like, why are all of these people texting me at the same time? You know what I mean? Like, they're people in the food world, you know what I mean? That I've met and like, and they're all at the same time texting me. I'm like, I don't know what happened. So I open it up, and the first one I saw was from this chef, a pastry chef in DC. Her name is Paula. She's a Afro-Latino pastry chef. She's the co-creator of Bakers Against Racism. Her name is Paula Velez. And the first message that I read was from her, and it said, OMG, you got nominated for James Beard. And I'm like, what? And then I go through the other text messages, and it's, Osai Indolin, who has won James Beard Awards for her writing, her cookbook writing, and Clay Williams, who, who's a photographer, and he shoots anyone who's black and doing a cookbook. He probably shot their photos. And so like, they're all like, congratulations.
What?
So I go on Twitter, because I guess they were live tweeting the names for the media awards. And so I go on Twitter, and sure as shit, my name is right there as a finalist for social media. And I'm like, bruh. Like, I damn near called out of work. I was like,
I made it.
Yeah, you think I'm about to do work? Y'all. And so, that's how I found out, man. Like, I really did not. I thought it was over for me, man.
Wait, so they got a James Beard Award for social media?
Yeah, so they have media awards as well. So, where they award, cookbooks, where they award podcast and food, or short films, documentary, like anything, long form essays, personal essays, all kinds of stuff, including social media. So,
I just thought it was all cooking.
Most people thought I thought it was all cooking, to be fair, until I nominated myself. And so, yeah, man, like, so I guess the media stuff was done later. I didn't know that, because again, that's how new I am to all of this. I had no clue there was a separate day for the media. So yeah, that's what happened, man. And my Black Food Fridays, again, I've always been blessed to have like a steady climb. And that was just another one of those moments where it was like, we going straight up now, right? Right. This ain't no steady. It's like boom. And yeah, so that was dope. I will say that going to Chicago was a very interesting experience.
Now you got flued out to Chicago? You got flued out?
Absolutely not.
No.
No, I mean it's a fundraiser. You know what I mean? Like, let's be clear.
Okay.
The James Beard Award is a prestigious award, but it's a fundraiser for the James Beard Foundation. So I'm sure somebody got flued out, but it wasn't me. And
you road tripped it, or you flew out? Which
bro,
one?
I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. If it's past 3 hours, I'm trying to get on the plane. Like, I'm not about that driving life. You talking about driving the 10 hours? Like, my nigga, no. Like, if I can help it, I'm getting on a plane.
Right.
So me and my parents flew to Chicago, and my parents were like, this might be the only time you get nominated, bro. Like, we want to be here for this. And me, I'm all arrogant. I'm like, the last time. Like, what?
Right.
Like, now that I know, hey, wait.
I'm winning one of these. I mean, truthfully, I thought until they called the other person's name, and shout out to Alexis, she 100% deserved to win. But until they called the other person's name, bro, you couldn't tell me that award wasn't mine.
Yeah.
I knew I was coming home with that. And so when they called her name, I was salty. I mean, I clapped. I clapped.
You were like,
smiled, and was like,
that clap was big as hell.
Right.
But I was salty, bro. Like, I was real salty.
She better go ahead.
I mean, that's one of the sucky things about growing up is you lose the opportunity to win trophies. Like, when you're a kid, there's like camps and school stuff and church plays, and there's so many ways to win awards. When you become an adult, you don't really have them opportunities. So I'm like, damn, I wanted that thing.
You don't be getting them plaques. You don't be getting them plaques at work.
Absolutely not.
No.
I mean, we're a nonprofit, so it's a little different, right? Like, we ain't Amazon. We don't got revenue. Like, we don't do that.
I said, good job.
And no employee of the month. There's like 9 of us, bro. Like,
thank you for coming in today.
Listen, when I do my interviews and I have to do my slideshows, I give all my accolades. I'll be like, so I got the 2020 award for this. I was recognized for this, and I go, it's because I make sure that
He's like it when I was 13.
Nah. I'm basing it all off of adult career. We're talking adult career. I make sure I put that in there. I'm like, so from 2014 up to current, like I'm consecutive. I'm getting something.
Hear me out now. There's a difference between accolades and trophies, right? So, like, I was on, the Black Pages 40 under 40. Right? Like,
you talking about like Oscar, cool. Like, I got this.
I want to be like,
yeah.
I want
in your Jadakiss voice.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I sat there and I clapped and whatever. But then I was like, you know what? My dog Jamal coming up next. His category is coming up. At least one of us from Charleston's gonna get this award, and he lost. And I saw him. He didn't listen. He did. At least I pretended, right? Like, I pretended. I was sitting in the same row as him, and he clapped, but he wasn't smiling at all. You know what I mean? And so now I'm double salty because I'm like, damn. They try to play me and my dog. You know what I mean? Like, but as soon as the awards were over, then I realized that I had actually won by just being in the room. You know what I mean? Like, I have Bevy Smith's cell phone number now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm talking to Marcus Samuelson about doing some events and in the future with him. And like all the people that I've met, it was like, you see him on the internet, but then like you see him in real life and they know your name and they're like, oh, I know you. You're the guy who does that thing. And I'm like, yes, I am that guy. Nice to meet you too. Like. And so, like, that's the beauty of being in that room, is just making those connections and understanding that there are people out here in this game who are pulling levers and you never even heard of these people.
Right. Yeah.
You've never seen these people.
Yeah. It's like acting in terms of, like, you can be an Oscar nominee. You don't even have to ever win. But if you're a nominee or a Golden Globe nominee, you put that right there. It's like, hey, I was in the room. I'm good enough.
Yo, anytime, that's when the price go up for everybody.
Right,
Because as long as you was nominee, that price go up for anything, right?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? And the price has gone up, gentlemen. Let me just be clear. Like,
Yes,
the price has gone up.
Whoa, what you trying to say? Wait. Cut this interview.
No. Y'all good. Y'all good.
Yeah,
y'all
baby.
Y'all straight. But
we damn near fam. We got Jamal and we know KJ now. We fam. We just broke bread. We just did beers with Jamal.
Our price still went up because we know them.
Yeah.
Exactly. Our fucking real our stock went up.
y'all have interviewed 2 James Beard Award nominees on this podcast,
yes.
bro.
This is
Y'all
true.
price done went up, dog. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, but like, you know, but that's what I'm learning is like, oh, just to your point, Yoda, just having that nomination has like changed not how I view myself or my work, because I always thought the work was valid, but other people care, right? And like that's the thing that's amazing. And when I say amazing, I mean amazing in terms of the opportunities that provides. Not amazing like, oh, they like me. Amazing like, oh, now when I walk in a room and I say something, people are like, so now, like, you know, and to be clear, I've had people hit me up for my services afterwards. I've given them prices that 2 years ago I would have shit my pants saying out loud. You know what I mean? Like, I can't believe I just asked that person for $10,000 for this little bit of work, right? Like, but that's the game now, right? Like, that's what Market. In fact, at the awards, Marcus Samuelson told me, he was like, "Don't be afraid. You here now."
Yeah,
like. He said that. Don't be afraid. You're here now.
Right, because that's what I was going to say. I was going to say that, honestly, like, it had to give you a push, a boost of energy just being nominated. Like, it had to give you an extra push to keep doing what you're doing, because that's crazy just being in that room. So
yeah, you know what though, to be fair, it did not give me a push or motivation to do the work, because like I said, I always thought the work was valid. It did give me a push, to be honest with you, Yoda. It gave me a push to be like, oh, I'm gonna make a living off this. Right. Like, oh, I can buy a house off this, right? Like I got nieces and nephew going to college, and you know, in like 5 years, like in 5 years, I could be like, oh, yeah, you're going to college, right? Like, like that's what the motivation was, the monetization of the work. Is what has increased. Like before, it's like, yeah, if I get money, that's cool. But now I'm like, nah, bro. Like Marcus Samuelson knows who I am. Like Debbie Smith knows who I am. Like we about to get bread.
Right. You'd be like, yeah, I got a reservation at Red Rooster. I'm good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, like Fawn Weaver knows who I am. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that is.
Have we counted how many names he's dropped? Because remember when we had Laura Mignot? I don't know if you know, he might not know her, but Laura Mignot, she dropped some names. She has Oprah in her contacts. I met her at a wedding in New York. One of my former colleagues, we went out to celebrate his nuptials, and I met her, and we just started talking about podcasts, and she started talking about podcasts, and then next thing you know, fast forwarding years later, you know, we had her on the show, and she's like, yeah, like Oprah's in my contacts. I'm like, and then she just started naming names like you. So I'm like, yeah. How many have we counted so far? You said 3, 4.
It just makes your price go up. So I don't even count no more.
Like, you know, it's listen, like I said, my cell phone is more valuable this month than it was before I went to the James Beard Awards. You know what I mean? Like, so now I happily play Apple for that, you know, extra storage. You know what I mean? Like,
right, exactly.
I can't lose that.
I can't lose anything. I can't lose anything.
I can't lose none of this, bro.
Now just going back to like the food, black food, in terms of because before it become, well, I guess it's always food before, but even like I guess being especially after a High on the Hog and stuff like that, like black farmers, like do you kind of spotlight black farmers as well? Because I know they don't get enough spotlight in terms of what they do and contribute as well to the foods.
Yeah, I mean, to be quite honest, not as much as I would like to, only because the game that I play is a social media game. It's an algorithm game. And so, believe it or not, you know, there are black-owned restaurants that don't do good at social media
Right.
Black farmers are worse than them, but for a reason. Like they in the field,
right?
They plowing, they're harvesting, they're shucking, like they're doing things. So you know, it's again, that is one of those things where going back to what Yoda said about the price going up is like, yeah, I want more money and I'm deserving of more money, but I want that so I can not have to worry. Like I don't like a lot of people ask me like, how much do you charge to be on your page? I don't charge people unless it's an arrangement like a sponsorship. Then I'll charge. But I post what I like, and I post what I think is dope. And so I would love to post more farm stuff, but them farmers, they social media games is trash for good reason, right? For good reason,
right?
You know,
maybe
and
that's
so
a
like
niche for somebody.
Yeah, exactly. And so I want them deals with a Pepsi, with a Target, with an American Express, so they can pay me, so I can go and I'll make the video, right? Like I'll make the video for the farmers. I'll make content for farmers. But there is a Black woman in Philly, who quit the corporate life, and now she's farming in Philly. Her Instagram handle is farmer. Is it Philly Farmer John Philly? Like John, like JAWN.
Like John, yeah.
Yeah. It's something like that. It's like Farmer John. And she's in Philadelphia, young Black woman. And so so there are some people who are doing it, but again, she's like younger, so she understands the importance of social media and how that can help her get the word out. So she's doing good food, she's doing good things with food, but she's also leveraging social media because she's a child of the internet like me.
She's like millennial type of. She's like a millennial farmer. I got you. All right.
Absolutely.
That's dope. I had another question. I just lost it when I was thinking. Yeah.
Listen, it don't matter. I got. Listen, I was telling one of my friends has a 13, 14-year-old daughter. And I was telling her, she's like, I don't like awkward silence. I'm like, you learn how to master that silence, dog. You'll be all right, man. Like you got to learn how to be okay with that.
Right.
But I mean, it probably sucks for a podcast, though, right? Like you can't have too much dead time.
I got a question for you. You ever been out in Vegas?
Yeah.
All right. What type of foods have you ate out here?
Okay, so
Do you have any suggestions?
To be fair, when I was going to Vegas, it was pre-Black Food Fridays. So I got a cousin who lives in I think it's Henderson.
Okay.
Like right outside of like Vegas proper.
Yeah.
And so he took us to some restaurants, but mostly we ate at casinos because it's like, we're gonna let's do that because that's what we doing. But now that I have this going on, when I go back, I'm definitely going with different, a different set of eyes and ears. There is a place, if I'm not mistaken, called Lolo's Chicken and Waffles.
Lolo's Chicken and Waffles.
Lolo's Chicken and Waffles. They have a spot in, I think they're based out of Arizona, but they also have a Vegas location. So if I'm not mistaken, check out Lolo's Chicken and Waffles because they're on my list of places to eat to when I get to Vegas.
Word.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if Neo has a restaurant because Neo's from Vegas, isn't he?
Who?
Neo, the singer. I think
Neo? I don't know where that nigga from.
Yeah.
look it up because just another like as he's mentioning that I remember going to a restaurant like with Justin Timberlake has a chain because he's from Memphis and then his chain like made it into Florida. So I would Google that.
I mean, again, I don't know if Neo has one, but I believe he's from Vegas, and it would make sense for him to
jump into the food game.
Food game, yeah.
Okay.
No,
and don't make a trash tequila like Justin Timberlake did.
Speaking of him, huh?
It was horrible. It was so bad.
Now you just don't have a the Instagram page. Like there's actually a website, Black Food Fridays, like that you blog from as well. So in terms of the information that you get, like I know you said some people like, does it always happen where people just send you information like, oh, this is a Black food business that's setting up? Is that how it always works, or do you also?
That's how it works now. No, that's how it works now, right? Okay. Like when I was starting the account. Listen. Yeah, I think I got 107,000 followers on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
But like I started like everybody else with zero, right? And I started with zero content. And so I was researching everything and begging people, please tag me, please use the Black Food Fridays hashtag, right? Like, please, please, please. And nobody was doing it for like until I got on the Today Show. And then it was like a little uptick.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then the Washington Post, I got, featured in Washington Post. Then it went up. And then when the James Beard thing, like I don't have to research shit no more. Like people are tagging me and everything now.
You know who I am.
Right. But I do still enjoy that. Like I still enjoy the hunt. Like as I'm a sneaker dude, right? And so like I don't really like sneaker culture now because the hunt is done on the phone, and I kind of liked it.
That's true.
Not to sound like an old man, but like I kind of liked it when
you sound like an old man though.
Yeah, I do. I knew. Yeah. But I kind of miss when you went by Ross and accidentally they had a pair of Jordan 6s or something there, and you like, what? Right? Like I miss that hunt. And I've kind of replaced the sneaker hunt with the Black food hunt, right? Like I enjoy finding a Black person making sushi, or a Black ramen artist. Like there's a Black woman in New York City who's doing ramen pop-ups. And so like I enjoy finding Harlem Hops, right? Like Kim and them in Harlem doing with the tap room. Like I love finding that stuff. Like, so it's not a burden to me to do the research. I'm just blessed that the platform has grown and other people are willing to contribute to the work.
Right.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Man, that's dope. I like it.
I do too.
Well, I'm definitely hungry now. I can tell you that. I'm hungry.
Did you order something?
I did, but guess what? Chipotle don't have what do you call it? The delivery service anymore out here where I'm at. I gotta go pick it up. Fuck.
That's kind of whack.
It's whack.
But you know what? It's all good. It's all good.
I just knew I had it like ready. I hit the button like pick up. Oh, I gotta wait.
Yo, listen. We got some time left, bro. Like, ask some spicy questions. Let's go. Let's make this.
Make it spicy. Make it funky.
Not even spicy. But what was your thoughts on High on the Hog, the show on Netflix? And what was your thoughts on that?
Listen. I have no problem telling anybody. I think. Let me preface this with two things can exist at the same time. Okay, and what I mean by that is, I personally did not find High on the Hog riveting, right? But that's because a lot of that information I knew already, right? So I didn't really learn anything new. Second of all, being a Southerner, especially, the phrase "high on the hog" is a celebratory phrase, right? Like when somebody says we eating high on the hog, that means we about to get turned up, like we about to live,
right?
And so I was kind of. Yeah, but I was, but that's not the tone of the docuseries.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah, okay.
And it's like, yo, we're gonna make you cry every episode, and so you know what I mean. So while I recognize that this might not have been for me, I also recognize that this will be a seminal piece of let's call it film, for lack of a better term. This will be a seminal piece of film as it relates to Black food and Black food history. And so I will always respect Steven and his staff and what they did, or the people, Steven was the host, but the people who were behind High on the Hog, like I'm going to forever respect what they did, because they really did elevate Black food cuisine in the film space, right? Like they took it to another level. So like when I do my stuff, I gotta be at least as well put together as them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I can't come lower than that. Like I gotta be on par with their cinematography, with their storytelling, with the music selection, with like everything has to be on point. And so on one hand, I appreciate what they did because they raised the bar for everybody. On the other hand, it's like this I wasn't the intended audience, and that's okay.
Right.
And that's funny that you said it, that you said you got to come to a highlight, because now, like most people didn't, maybe not knew who Steven was, but now a lot of people know who you are. So if you come out with a project, they be like Michael Samuelson. I mean, like Samuelson said, what's his first name? I don't remember.
Marcus.
Marcus said, like people, you are here now, so people know who you are. So now you do gotta go even set your own bar pretty much when you deliver something to the public in terms in the media space.
Absolutely.
So that
Wait, is that I may have missed it, but is that part of your plan? Is it the go to that level to do like a media type joint?
Absolutely.
Okay.
100-year plan.
So you're trying to do like
plan.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a 100-year plan. But one of the things that I'll say that I didn't say earlier, Yoda, you missed some of that, but this is new. My TV show that we're working on right now is kind of Guy Fieri in kind of Anthony Bourdain-ish in the travel and eat thing, right? But what we're trying to do is also tell a narrative story,
right? Just
like a regular TV show where you start with episode 1 and by the end of the season you're like, damn, I didn't see that coming, or that's how they solve the problem or the issue. We're trying to do that in the food space, and from my knowledge, that's not a thing that has been done where you travel the nation and by the time you go from episode 1 to episode 8 or 10 or 12, whatever, right, whatever the ending is, we would like people to watch the final episode and be like, damn, they told a complete story, even though they went to all these different cities and met all these different restaurant owners and chefs and stuff. They told a full narrative arc, and that's what we're trying to do.
I don't think there's anything like that. I think it's like a lot of shows that give a lot of information, and you would have to piece that together yourself in order to.
Or the only thing that gives you that kind of that start to finish is like a Chef Ramsay show that is doing like it's kind of food restaurant ish, but it's like a start to finish of like, okay, how did they rebrand or how did they kind of fix a restaurant or turn it around or revitalize it. That's
but even with that, right? Like the culmination of the story is done in 28 minutes or 22 minutes, right? True. Beginning and end done. And you do that every episode. So if you watch episode 3, it don't have shit to do with episode 1. Right? What we're trying to do is that while we're in different cities and telling different stories, each one connects to the other, so that by the time we get to the end, it's like, damn.
All right, so how do you've already?
Damn, I love it.
You already have that in the making, or are you trying to shop that now?
So where we are now is, I told you Kamal is on board.
You say Charles off the air.
Yeah. So, but no, well, I mean, I can say this part because. Listen, it's a bunch of what I'm finding out. It's a bunch of hurry up and wait, right? So,
absolutely.
We have, and I took a film class about a year ago, and the lady at the end of the class was like, "Your show concept could sell." And this is a woman who, she is a full-time Hollywood financier, right? Like this is her job. The lady who taught our class, she puts money up for film and television. Like, oh. Amazon is like, yo, we got this show idea. We think it's pretty dope. It kind of goes in line with the things that y'all got going on. Y'all want to put some bread in? And she'll be like, tell me about the show. And, oh, yeah, we'll put some money up. Like, that's who she is. And so her name is Effie Brown. Let me give her, she has a name. Her name is Effie Brown, and her company is called Game Changer Films. And so she taught our class. And she said at the end of my class that my show had legs. Like, this is something that could be sold to a network. But she also told me that I had a couple things working against me and I needed to work on that. She said, number one, you're not a celebrity. And I know it sounds crazy, but like with so many streaming networks now, the competition is fierce. And it's sort of like sports where when one team is very successful doing something, everybody copies it. And so now that's kind of what the networks are doing, right? They're like, oh, if we have celebrity talent, that'll at least get us a good premiere, right? At minimum, people will show up to watch at least 1 or 2 episodes. So it's like, you're not a celebrity and you don't have a celebrity tied to this. Number 2, you're not famous enough to pitch on your own to a network. And number 3, you need A1 talent behind the scenes. Like you need a production company that when they walk in the room, networks are going to be like, oh, you working with them? Oh, all right, cool. And
Right.
so, she told me and, a couple other people in our class that, and I can't speak for them, but I didn't take it personal.
Right.
Because at the time, I might have had 40,000 followers. I felt like I was doing some shit like, ooh, nigga, I got 40,000 followers.
Right.
I was on the Today Show's website. I was on BET.com. And she's like, don't nobody give a shit. Like, like you wasn't on the Today Show. You wasn't on Good Morning America. You was on a website. That counts, but not really.
Right.
And so that's how me and Kamal got up. Like after the class, I was like, you're right. I'm not famous enough. Who is famous but does the kind of stuff that I like and I want to be associated with and can help me make this show? And in my show deck for class, I wrote that W. Kamal Bell is someone that I would want to pattern my show after his show, United States Shades of America.
Right.
And so I shot him a DM.
Nice.
Like I just shot him a DM. It was like, hey, bro, like I just finished this film class and I got this deck and I love your show and I want to make a show that's like your show, but about food. And I ain't hear from him, obviously for a minute. Right. And then one day he DM'd me back. It was like, here's my email address. Send it to me. And I was like, oh, snap. So then I emailed it back to him and I emailed him my information that I wanted him to review. He emails me back. Hey, I got it. I'll review it. Give me a couple weeks. I'm in the middle of some stuff. I'll hit you back. Well, a couple of weeks turned into like 6, 7, 8 months, bro. Like,
right. Yeah.
But again, like I wasn't deterred because he got stuff going on. Like I'm trying to get on his level. So like, I'm not mad. And then what happened was like at the beginning of the year, he emails me out of the blue. And is like, hey, I didn't forget about you. But, this other project I was working on kind of got turned up. So I'll hit you up when it's over. Man, a couple weeks later, I see this man out here advertising his Bill Cosby documentary. I'm like, that's what you've been working on the whole time? Like, okay, well, I get why you was not talking to me, right? Like, I get that. That was pretty heavy stuff. So then after it came out, I emailed him. And I was like, hey, I saw the documentary. If you still want to talk, I still want to talk. Didn't hear anything, whatever. It's all good. And then Will Smith slapped the shit out of Chris Rock. And Kamal emailed me that night or like the next day and was like, hey, man, seems like this is the time where black men need to work together. So if you still want to have a conversation, I want to have a conversation. I was like, absolutely, I want to have a conversation. Yeah. Thank you, Will Smith, for slapping Chris Rock. I appreciate that. And then then we got to talking. He introduced me to his business partner who produced like the last 6 or 7 seasons of Anthony Bourdain's show. And so he was on board. He was like, yeah, come out, show me all your stuff. I've been following you on Instagram. Like, I think we have a chance here. And then so after that, it was like, well, we're going to introduce you to some top tier production. And I'm going to leave the company name out. We ain't signed no contracts yet. So I ain't no shout outs yet, but we had a meeting with one of their founders and their development team. And so I'm going to the meeting thinking like, all right, I got to pitch myself to these dudes. Like, I got to let them know why they need to be behind because their roster of shows that they've done is like real stuff, right? And I'm like, all right, I'm going to go to this meeting. I'm going to wow them, right? Like, I'm going to razzle dazzle them, as we say in Charles. I'm going to razzle dazzle them. I get to the meeting, and one of the co-founders is like, hey, I'm in the middle of something, but I just wanted to let you know we're on board. And so these women here are going to help you do whatever you need to do so we can do what we need to do and like make. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I thought I had to come sell myself, but
that James Beard Finalist.
You was a step ahead. You was a step ahead.
James Beard Finalist.
That James Beard made them people like, hey, okay, this dude's serious.
Right. Somebody.
So now what we're doing is they're developing a deck. So for anybody who's watching, right, like I'm learning this process, so I'm sharing what I've learned. So I had a show Bible. A show Bible is basically like could be 5 pages, could be 20 pages. It's just like write out everything you want this show to look like, sound like, smell like, what the music is going to be like. Give me some sample episodes, give me some sample guests, like write everything out. Just write it all out. So I had a show Bible. And when we got to the meeting, the women were like, this is actually really good. Like for someone who's never worked in film and television, like you actually gave us a lot to work with. So what we're going to do now is we're going to ask you follow-up questions so that then we can go in our software and build a deck that we can then use to pitch networks. So what I had was good, but it wasn't glossy, right? It didn't look, I guess, again, you know, and they said it had too many words, you know. Apparently network executives are like,
they like white
pitches all the time.
They like white space.
Like they get pitches all the time. They don't want 17,000 words, right? Like they want, so that's where we are now. I'm just in that waiting. They're working on the deck. And I know I'm not high priority right now. You know what I mean? Like these people did stuff for Billie Eilish. You know, like I'm just happy to be in the room. You feel me? Like, so it might be a while before we get back to it, but I'm not sweating it. Like when we get back to it.
Listen, it's my first time meeting you, and you know, we use this term a lot on the show, giving our folks or our guests their flowers or each other their flowers. Man, I am super proud of you. Super proud of you, not just simply because, you know, oh, wow, like we have you on the podcast, but just super proud that you've pushed and you went for this opportunity and you didn't miss. You know what I mean? Like you were over prepared, you know? And that's really that I would categorize you as like a type A, you know, in terms of personality, because you got type B and you got type A. Type A, you're that guy that's you were looking at that mountain and you're like, okay, I got to figure out how I'm either going to chisel through it. I'm going to go over it. I'm going to find my path. Versus type B could be a bit of like, oh, okay, all right, that mountain right there. I'm gonna take a break. You know, I'm gonna take a nap and figure out, you know, man, is somebody gonna come and, you know, kind of, you know, that is that sailboat gonna come to me? So
you know what, Dev, if I could be honest with you, I'm probably more of a hybrid of both.
And in certain situations, I think I was talking this conversation earlier this morning. You can definitely be a hybrid of both. And you can switch, you can flip and flop.
Because I don't care, you know, I've had people say like they don't like this, that, you know, it sets bad precedent or whatever. But like, I'll tell anybody who's listening, I'm not interested in doing it the hard way. I'm not interested in a hard life. I want a soft life. I want an easy, liberated, soft ass life, bro. Like, right? Like, I don't want to cut my own grass. I don't want to cut my own hedges. Like, I want somebody to do that shit for me because I want to spend my time creating.
Right? Like, but it doesn't hurt to know how. Right. Well, yeah. I tell my son that like it's not gonna hurt to know how to cut your own grass, even though you're gonna make it to a level where that's not gonna be your forte or where how you spend your time.
Right.
But it's not gonna hurt to know how.
No, it's not. You're right. It's not. Let's be clear. It does not hurt to know these things because it gives you a better understanding of what to look for when someone else is doing it for you.
Right.
You dig? But like, yeah, I'm not interested in blowing up mountains, nigga. Like, where's the path with the awning and the paved road, right? And I'm willing to like take the time to wait and find the path. Like, I don't get any joy chiseling through mountains, bro. Like, that's not my ideal of a good time.
I'm not no fucking mountain climber.
Nah, bro.
I don't like hiking.
I'll do it if I have to, right? Like, if I have to, like, I'm not afraid. Like, I think that's when people hear me say that, some people get offended because they're like, oh, you afraid of hard work. No, I value my time, right? And like, I'm not interested in impressing some dude on the internet because he's like, oh, this nigga take naps. Real, you know, real grinders don't take naps. No, maybe for you, like, I'm taking naps. Look, I believe in rest. I
took a nap today.
Come on, somebody.
What was that? I mopped my floors and said, I'm sitting in this office chair.
What was that fable where the guy was building the hammers, doing the hammer thing and shit? You know, building the
John
railroad?
Henry.
John Henry. He had a heart attack after the fact.
Listen, bro. Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. I'm not competing with a machine, bro. Are you serious? Nah. And like people hear stories like that. And here's the deal with Black people that I really want us to, and I don't like talking in absolutes because Black is not a monolith, right?
Right.
But I do feel that we have been programmed to love the grind and the struggle because that's what the Black experience for most Black people in America has been: grind and struggle, from enslavement to liberation to Reconstruction to Jim Crow. Like, we've never had a period in time where Black people were able to just goddamn be, just relax and be, right? And so I think sometimes we have kind of like glorified trauma and glorified unnecessary grind to prove to somebody who don't give a shit about you in the first place that I's a hard worker. Nah, bro, like, no. Guess what Jeff Bezos is doing right now? This nigga flying in space.
Right.
You feel me? Like,
Exactly.
he worked really hard for like 10 years and then was like, I'm out. Like, I'm not doing this. I'll pay you to do this. Right? Like, but Black people, we have been, I think, programmed to just grind. We don't take care of our health, right? We don't go on vacation. We don't use our PTO, right? We don't do none of that stuff, bro. We just grind because we're so afraid that white people will call us lazy. I wish a white person would call me lazy. Like, y'all took my ancestors. They was chilling in, well, present day, Sierra Leone, right? My ancestors was chilling, living their life. Y'all so lazy that you abducted people to make them do the work for you.
Right.
You have the audacity to call me lazy. Bro, like,
bust you in your face,
bro. I wish a white person would. I wish a white person would call me lazy, bro. Y'all they had it so easy
their entire lives.
Struggle, right? And let me be clear. I'm not saying that white people don't have hard times. We all go through hard times. But from a cultural standpoint, Black people have been working. Bro, we've been working since we set foot on Gaston's Wharf.
Right.
We've been working hard. Fuck that. I'm trying to live an easy life, bro. So awesome, man. Y'all can be mad at me if you want.
I'm proud of I'm proud of you.
That's funny. I
got a little. You know what? I'm finally at the bottom of the tequila.
Right.
And now I'm like,
let's
go.
That was your overcome. That was your overcome speech. You have overcome that mountain.
Now you like, fuck white people.
I just read an article just not like, I guess earlier today or yesterday, talking about like Black folks are more apprehensive to taking vacations or because vacation has never really been easy because you had to find like the Green Book, you had to find a place where you could actually vacation. That's where Oaks Bluff and Martha's Vineyard came about, where it was like a safe haven for Black folks to just go and be Black and relax and don't have to worry about on edges. So it's a hard thing to do.
Yeah, and Mosquito Beach in Charleston, right? Like, that's another place where Black people went to rest and relax and just let their hair down. That's why, like, I'm such a huge proponent. And again, no shade to anyone who does not have this experience, but I'm such a big proponent of HBCUs. It's because, like, that's the only time for most Black people that they will have any extended period of time to just be human, right? When I was in college and some girl ain't give me no play, I never thought, man, maybe she ain't holler at me because I'm Black. Or like if I had a hard time with a professor, I never thought like, damn, this man don't like me because I'm Black. Or if I got a bad room assignment, right? I never was like, man, no boy put me with this man because he the only other Black man on, right? Like, so for 4 years, you just get to be. And I think that's why a lot of leaders in the Black community come from HBCUs, is because we just get so used to just being that we like, we're not about to stop. Like, I'm going to just keep doing this forever. Like, I'm going to just keep being. And so, you know, like, I want to be a proponent of Black people. Use your, like, my boss, she's on sabbatical right now. And she called me in her office before she was going on sabbatical, was like, yeah, I'm thinking about taking the summer off. What do you think about this? This is a Black woman. I said, go. Like, take a break. Go to Africa. Do all the stuff you said you wanted to do. Go. Because we don't, especially black women never get a chance to rest. They're raising kids or grandkids or they mama and daddy, right? Like, they're always taking care of other people. Black women, take your vacation time. Go to Essence Fest, okay? Go to Essence Fest. Go to Barrel and Flow. Go to the family reunion. Go to wherever you want to go.
Shit, we up, Rob. We sent our wives to Essence Fest. Shit, we up. We black women, we doing it. You know,
y'all smart men.
Going back to Effie Brown, that's the Effie Brown from Project Greenlight and all that stuff. Is that the same Effie Brown?
Exactly. Okay. The one that told Matt
the
Damon,
one.
You tripping.
Matt Damon.
I am that
one. Matt Damon.
Yeah, I'm thankful to have her. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I would say Matt Damon and Ben Affleck project thing.
Yeah.
Black woman that was like going to tell them what it is.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm grateful to have people like her in my corner, you know, as I navigate these entertainment waters, if you will.
Right.
It's because I don't know what I don't know. And you know, I'm not a distrustful person. But I'm also, you know, I'm 39 years old. And so, you know what I mean? Like, I don't wait this long to get on. You know what I mean? Like, if I got to wait another year to make sure we do it right and I don't get screwed, then fine. We just wait one more year. Like, I'm kind of glad I didn't have success in my 20s, to be honest with you. I would have been on some behind the music type shit, bro. Like, y'all would have, y'all have been like, hey, y'all remember that dude, KJ? Tragic what happened to him. Tragic. He got all that money and ran out, dog.
Well, we were having this conversation not too long ago because, like, it's like Samuel Jackson. He was older when he became really popular. I think he was like in his 40s when he really became the Samuel Jackson. You know, and it was like a Morgan Freeman, I think, as well. There was a couple other people in that space where you didn't know who they were before they were hit 40. So you were almost there. Yeah. So by the time the show debut, you'd be 40.
Lawrence Fishburne.
Right.
I mean, you look in fashion, you got Rick Owens. I think Rick Owens was like in his 40s before his fashion line. Virgil Abloh, you know, rest in peace for Virgil. He was a married man with kids. People didn't know that. Like, he was a family man, but he was like an established adult before things really start popping off for him. So you know, like, the one thing that I would like to say is that for anyone who may be listening or watching, bro, my story is not unique in the sense that I've had a bunch of shitty jobs, right? Like, I got student loans out the ass. Like, I got everything y'all got or have done. I've probably done, you know, I've been arrested, right? Like, I like all the things. Like, we have a lot more in common than you may you know, understand. But you know, one thing that Nipsey Hussle said was the difference between me and them is I never stopped, right? Like, I never gave up on my dreams, and I kept, again, you know, like Dev's point, walking around the mountain trying to find that path thing, right? I wasn't deterred, like, I'm gonna stop trying, but I definitely, like, I was okay taking the long way. Because I knew my life, I'm not meant to go to work and pay bills and die. I'm not meant to be that person. I'm not going to subscribe to that. I'm not going to claim that. And so, you know, I've taken some wild jobs just so I could keep creating jobs that didn't pay well. Thank God for my parents, man. You know what I mean? Who let me live with them forever, right? Like, even now I'm with them because I want to buy a house next year, right? My parents believed in me. They was like, okay, yeah, it's taking a long time, but we see that the steps are right. And that's another thing. Like, man, black people, we so quick to kick them kids out the house.
Yeah, like that wasn't my experience, but I do know that happens.
Yeah, man,
very often. Oh, you 18, you on your own now? No, you never on your own.
Never
on your own.
So I was on my own, right? Like, I left the house, went to college, had my own apartment, all this other stuff. Fell on hard times. Had to move back home. Thought I was going to be home for like a year. A year turned into like 9 years, right? But like, but my parents, I thank God for them, bro. Like, I ain't even no spiritual person, but I thank God for my parents because they believed in my plan too, right? And so when I didn't have the money to make that drive to Colombia to go do that thing, we got you, right? Like, And so when I didn't have the money to catch that flight to go to South by Southwest, when I was writing about hip hop and fashion, they asked me to be on this panel. They didn't fly me out, Dev, right? My brother was like, don't worry about it, bro. Like, we'll go together. I'll pay for it. We got it. Like,
swipe that card. Swipe that card.
You know what I mean? Like, so, I thank God for my parents and my brother and my sister and, all my ex-girlfriends. I wish I was a better boyfriend of y'all, but all my ex-girlfriends, shout out to them. Like, all of them, like every woman that's been in my life, every mentor I've ever had, like all of that led to where we're going now.
Right.
And so thank God that I had people in my corner, bro. Because if I had to raise a kid, I don't have any kids, but if I had to do any of the normal adult things, like I wouldn't be here talking to y'all, and I wouldn't give up what I've been through to not have this conversation with y'all. You know what I mean? Like, this has been dope, but this doesn't happen if I don't go through what I went through. So whoever's listening to this, bro, like, yo, like, just don't stop, man. Like, there's some people who don't get on till they 55. You think, bro, like I was telling my brother my brother is a funny man, and he said some stuff one day that I'll never forget. He was like, who cares if you don't get on until you 45? If you live another 45 years, you'll be 90. You think anyone's going to give a shit about what happened the first 45 years? No, what happens is they're going to use your first 45 years as inspiration, right? When you get on, then your story's inspirational. If it never becomes anything, then it becomes a cautionary tale, right? So if he was like, which one you wanted to be? You wanted to be an inspirational story? Which one you wanted to be? You wanted to be an inspirational story? You want to be a cautionary tale?
Right. I think Bill Withers was another one who was late 30s or early 40s when he had his first actual hit before everybody knew who Bill Withers was. So
when I wake up in the morning, love.
Right.
Oh no. So he was like in his late 30s when he made that song?
I think so. When he got his first major hit, I think he was older gentleman. I think that's how the story goes. I mean, same with Tyler Perry and Steve Harvey and all them. They'll tell you the same type of story. They were older. They weren't like young boys when they got in like Chris Brown. You see, I mean,
I feel like that people in general, as you mentioned, like not being afraid to take the long way, or when people really kind of reach their career pinnacle or their peak, right, is when you stop thinking that things need to happen in the order that you envision. That was it. That's what clicked for me, just personally. I remember being the artist who, left Delaware in '96, went to California, thought, Hollywood was going to be the ticket. I was going to do my music, right? It happened, right? It happened, and then it also brought me back to Delaware. And the moment that I stopped thinking that I was going to obtain the house and the luxurious life that I wanted to have, just in this order, from getting the deal and everything like that, it all happened when I stopped trying to have it in a certain order. So that is, if to drop a gem for anyone, that's when it clicked for me, personally. So.
You know what? And I think it clicks because, and this is just one man's theory, but I think it clicks because my friend Mamie said that one of the things she's enjoyed about the growth of Black Food Fridays is that I never lost sight of my North Star, right? Like I never lost sight of my North Star. And so if your North Star is not rooted in something substantial, right? If your North Star is rooted in getting women or getting money, the universe will respond. It will give you all the women you want, and it will give you all the money you want. And the universe will be like, that's what you asked for. Right. And I think that when we ask the universe or God or whoever it is you believe in, when you ask for very specific, substantial things, I think that's when you see, your life take off for the better. So, I wanted to be famous. I strive for fame. It did not work out. Right. I wanted to be rich. I strive for money. It didn't work out. When I stopped striving for those material things and started working on, like, what is my North Star? When I'm dead 100 years from now, what do I want to be known for? I want to be known for elevating and liberating Black people. I want to be known for getting white people and other people who aren't Black to fully commit to supporting Black businesses every single week. That's what I want to be known for. And once that became my focus, everything started taking off. Everything. But if it was just money, I played college football. If I just wanted money, I could have just worked really hard to try to go to the NFL. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
But I learned real quick in college that was not for me, bro. I'm not the NFL type.
Bang,
balling in
bang.
high school,
Right.
you get to college, you be like, oh, that dude's trying to go to the NFL? Yeah, I'm good. I'm not trying to work out nearly as much as that man.
Right.
Like,
He gonna take your head off and anybody else's head off for him to get there.
Yeah,
I
bro.
get it.
I don't want them problems. Yo,
but I still like food though.
yeah, exactly. Listen, this is the day when I realized there's two things that happened when I played college football that made me realize you're not going to the NFL. The first thing was we had an offensive tackle who was training to go to he was like a real legit prospect. This is my freshman year. This is senior year. Before practice, he was lifting weights. After practice, he was running suicides on a football field. He's an offensive tackle. I'm like, what is this man doing? And they were like, oh, yeah, he's training. Training for what? The zombie apocalypse? And it was like, no, this man's trying to go to the NFL. I'm like, you got to work out like that to go to the NFL? It's like, well, I mean, that's the start. I'm a start? What are you talking about? And then the second thing that happened is we had a dude. I got recruited to play quarterback, but that coach retired, and then a new coach came. So I got moved to defense, which is fine. I played defense in high school as well. And so he came from University of South Carolina. And so he brought some dudes with him down to, to our college, South Carolina State University, home of the Mighty Bulldogs and the Marching 101. You thought I forgot, Dev?
Say it all together.
Yeah. And so we had this dude who came down. He was a running back. I was strong safety. And I was like, oh, this man think he coming down here that he gonna run shop. Like, we play ball down here, bro. Like, we not the one to sleep on. So I remember, bro, they sent me on a blitz. I timed it perfect. I was strong safety in college. I timed it perfectly, bro. I had a straight beeline to this man. I remember dropping my shoulders, going for the form tackle. Like, I had so much time. I could do like the practice tackle. Like, I'm like, yeah, bro, I'm about to form tackle this man. Bro, I end up hugging myself and doing a split. When he got the ball, somehow he was able to receive the ball, stop, spin, and keep going at the same time. I don't know how I didn't see this until I watched the film. I'm like, I look up, this man 40 yards down the field. I'm like, oh, that's what Clemson, USC, right? Like, that's what big boy football looked like. Right. I'm good. I'm just here. I'm happy to be on the team. I'm happy to be. If that dude can't get playing time, I'm good. Like, I'm all right. Yeah. I'm good. Yeah. See y'all.
All right. Before we go, like you said, you would be one of our best interviews for sure. We probably could talk to you forever. But I was curious to know, because it's in your like photo shoots and stuff like that. You got a hoodie and a cup that says "Who made a potato salad?" Is that like where's that brand come from? Like, that's your brand? Is that somebody else's brand?
No, Greg. Thank you for asking. It's the name of my newsletter.
Okay.
So I do a newsletter called "Who Made the Potato Salad," where I randomly, some things that might be too long for Instagram posts.
Okay.
I'll put it in the newsletter. Some research I might find. Like, I found out that there's some researchers in Texas that are using, we talked about okra, right? They're using the mucus from okra to clean microplastics out of water.
What?
Yeah. Like, that mucus is amazing. People be like, it's slimy. That mucus is amazing.
That viscosity.
That viscosity. You know what I mean? And so I put that in the newsletter, Yeah. If I do giveaways, I'll do it in the newsletter first. Like, let them people know what's going on first. Right. We'll be coming back out with merchandise, but that I was selling them for a little while, but I didn't like how the product was looking. So we took it down because again, you know, I'm James Beard nominated now. I can't be having no raggedy t-shirts. I can't be out here with no raggedy. Yeah, no. We got to do it right. So yeah, but thank you for asking. That's the newsletter. Go to blackfoodfridays.com and join the Who Made the Potato Salad newsletter.
All right. So along the lines of potato salad, I got a short story. I remember probably one of my first UD basketball games I went to, and you know, our Rob and I's wives, their family are Blue Hens, UD Blue Hens for 40 years lineage. Like her dad is one of the first black men that worked in the Bob Carver Center, all the whole nine lineage, their history. But I remember getting like the platter of food. It was like, you know, you pick your sides, pick your meats or whatever. And I had the potato salad at the game, and I tasted it, and I was like, "Who making this potato salad? Because that's gotta be a black woman making this potato salad." And I used to say it like each time I would go to the game, until I like finally, you know, just asked like, "Can you show me the person who making this potato salad?" And sure enough, bro, it was one of our sisters.
Black women are
making the potato salad.
By the way, black food fact. Let's end with a black food fact.
Okay.
Black people did not invent potato salad.
Oh,
is that Italian?
Nah, it's German.
It's German. German.
That area is big in potatoes because it's so the climate.
Right. And mustard.
Right.
Mustard. So like again, like I said at the beginning, they made it a hot line. We made it a hot song.
Yes.
So there's a lot of examples of someone who introduced something and then another culture gets their hands on it and it's like, it's ours now.
Right. It'd be interesting. Just to also just piggyback off of that. There's there's a German beer festival or Oktoberfest that happens here in like Smyrna or Townsend area. Anyway, it's in September. So and it's like $10 or something for if you're like non-German to go, like and rides and everything. So like maybe we should check that out.
Wait, if you're non-German, how do they verify your Germanness?
So I don't know either.
So I can't say Robert Gunter. I gotta go and say Robert.
You gotta how you gonna say your name?
Last name.
Right.
Gunter.
Right.
That's probably worse.
I just learned about it. I just learned about it last night. I need to do some research, but fair. And now I'm interested in tasting their potato salad. Not interested. I'm just curious.
And you know, and to be fair, I don't even know if it's a thing that Germans still eat. Right? Like, you know, they might have moved on from that. I don't know.
They make like their sausage and their sauerkraut, you know,
and their brewskis, you know, like they focus on other things.
Brewski.
Yeah. But someone I think like Poland and areas in that region, they do potatoes are still a big deal because of some of the climates are harsher and potatoes can grow anywhere. I heard.
Yeah. So makes sense. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Well, once again, I want to thank KJ for coming on the podcast.
KJ, this was great, man.
Yeah.
You're great.
Thank you.
You don't have to answer. You don't have to answer this, but I imagine that you being a community leader, and you having meetings, I imagine that y'all are bringing in some amazing food and some amazing black cuisines, like to these meetings. I hope.
No, not at all. I mean,
really?
No, I mean, you know, listen. Here's the thing about community organizing that I think a lot of people don't understand. When you do that Santa Claus shit, right? Like where you just come and you just give, you don't really build people's capacity to do for themselves. So like we'll do food sometimes, but then again, we need skin in the game. You know what I mean? Like if I'm gonna do this, then I need you to do this to make sure that I'm not wasting my money and my resources to help you out. So yeah, we do bring food sometimes, but it's very specific. Like I believe in transactional relationships. Like I know a lot of people don't believe in that, but like I'd rather you tell me up front what this is gonna be so that we can all be on the same page. So yeah, I would love to just be like, hey, let's go to Rodney Scott's and buy everybody smoked wings. Like, that'd be awesome. But, a lot of times you don't get work done because then people just come expecting Rodney Scott wings.
Right. I get it. You got to stay focused.
Yeah.
Gotta stay focused. The main thing.
Focus.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right.
I want to thank again KJ Kearney for coming on the podcast and the blessing of the James Beard finalist himself. But before we go, and I think you kind of already said it, before we go, we always like to know how people can find you and reach you on these worldwide webs and Instagrams and anywhere else you want. So how can they find more about what you're doing and what you're involved in and more besides just and anything else you want to tell them in terms of where can they go?
Yeah, man. Again, first of all, thank y'all so much for having me. Thanks to Jamal Lemon for suggesting me as a guest of this illustrious podcast. Yeah, man. Well, first thing is, please follow me on social media. I'm primarily on Instagram at Black Food Fridays. Tag me anytime you go to a black restaurant, you buy a black sauce, catering from a black chef, whatever. And it don't have to just be Fridays. That's a question I get all the time. Should I wait till Fridays to let you know? Nah, bro. If you only got the time on Tuesday, go buy that man food on Tuesday.
Right.
And tag me in it, and we'll be good to go. So yeah, please follow me on social media. Please join the newsletter. But I'm gonna tell you right now, don't join my newsletter if you're one of them people that don't like to open emails, because I got a really good open rate right now, and I'm not trying to ruin it just to get more people to follow me. Just be honest. You know yourself better than I do. Don't join the mailing list if you don't like opening emails. But I don't send a lot of emails, so you shouldn't be overwhelmed by it. And then I would say, last but not least, man. Excuse me. One of the things that I'm trying to do for the rest of the year, and especially in 2023, is travel. So, we got the show thing, talked about the book thing, but, I want to work with visitors bureaus all around the nation, all around the world, so if anyone's listening is a member of a visitors bureau or a destination marketing organization, which is essentially we in Charleston is Explore Charleston or Visit Durham or Visit Vegas, whatever. If anybody is, and I don't even care. I'm trying to do some work with Birmingham, Alabama right now. I want to go everywhere there's black people. So if you got a little bit of a budget and you're willing to, do some cool stuff related to black food, please holler at me, man. Let's make some content and let's highlight black people all over this nation.
Nice, absolutely. That's a way. I guess I should have asked why is it called Black Food Fridays? I didn't even ask that question.
Oh, but then you're right. You did not ask the question. Well, the goal is to get everyone to buy food and beverages from a black person every Friday.
That's it. There it is.
That's why.
Just got paid. You got that paycheck.
Yeah.
You get to swipe everywhere else. Buy that black cuisine.
We got Taco Tuesday, right? And so I'm a writer, and I know that and I love hip hop, and alliteration works. Ask Eminem. Alliteration works. And so it was able to put a call to action together with alliteration. It's perfect.
Right.
You know exactly what to do and when to do it.
All right, there it is. That's
easy enough.
Definitely they always say you got to have a call to action and how to do it, and that is easy enough. Like you said, tag everybody in your Black Food Fridays, and you're good to go. All right, Dev, how can they find you?
Once I take myself off of mute, you can find me on Instagram at Dev Drinks Craft Brew, or email me as Bruising Banner Podcast Ambassador, Dev Drinks Craft Brew at bruisingbanner.com.
All right, yo.
You can find me in these Vegas streets, baby. Say that.
There it is, baby. That's where you at this week.
You can find me on IG at IM302YODA.
Right.
That's it.
You can find Lou Belgium at Lou Belgium on Instagram. He's on them grams. And you can find Bruising Banter Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Bruising Banter Podcast. You can listen to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, anywhere you listen to podcasts, even Pandora and iHeartRadio, because we are on there as well. You can even say, Alexa, play Bruising Banter Podcast, because we are on Amazon Music for sure. If you want to follow me, Rob Stay Bruising, there it is, Rob Stay Bruising. Bing, 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 bing. You can also go to www.bruisingbanter.com, and if you want to pick up merch and find out even more about the podcast and where you can listen to it and all that good stuff, or watch the videos as well, check out YouTube and Facebook and Twitter as well. You can watch it live. Remember to smash that like button and all that good stuff. And until next time, peace or have a good week, everyone.
We out.
Bye.